Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Big Fish Charter Services in Elginak. Experience a world-class muskie fishery on Lake St. Clair for predator fishing or a once-in-a-lifetime trip on the St. Clair River to tangle with a prehistoric lake sturgeon at Big Fish Charter Services. It's all about big fish.
Hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We have got a brand new show for you, and we're going to start in Lake Huron, actually in the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula. We're going to do some lake trout fishing. You won't want to miss that. We're also going to do some woodcock banding on this week's program, and if you've never seen what that's all about, you're going to get to learn a lot about that. It is a lot of fun chasing those bird dogs in the woods this time of the year. And we're also going to stop in with our own Gabe Van Warmer as he tags along for a little father-son turkey hunt with one of his boys. Lots of good stuff on this week's program. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream. It's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. By Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and we start this week's show way up in the northeastern part of the Lower Peninsula, fishing on Lake Huron, just north of Alpena.
The plan today was to start out fishing for lake trout, and then later on switch tactics, hoping to find a few silverfish and maybe even a walleye before sunset, and in the process highlight the recovery of the Lake Huron fishery.
Yeah, out here off Alpena here this year, like in years past, we've been getting not only numbers, we've been getting double limit catches. 4 guys will come out, they're allowed 12 trout, but they'll very often catch double their limit in the 20s. And it's not just the numbers, it's the size of the fish. We're getting fish all the way up into the mid-teens almost every trip. The little boy that just went with us, he caught 2 master angler fish. So, you know, they were 35 inches, 34 inches. It's pretty common to get that size fish up here, and those are 12 to 15 pound fish. They're incredible fighters when they get that large, and we do get them of all sizes. So it's an incredible fishery. Well, with lake trout, they don't have the blistering runs like a salmon would, but they are very powerful fighters. They like to stay to the bottom. They stay steady pressure on the rod. They do a lot of head shaking, but overall it's a big tug of war. A lot of people have complained this year that their arms were getting tired. Several times on the fight, those bigger 15-pound fish, when they're reeling them in, they got to take breaks, let the blood flow back into their arms because they are pretty good fighters. Got a left or a right pack, and we got a left vent clip. See, it's missing a fin there. That just tells them the different year classes. The DNR clips each of the planted fish, so we know that's a planted fish. DNR plants some, but also the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service plants some of these. It's part of the lake trout restoration program they got going on for the Great Lakes after the sea lampreys came in and about wiped them out. They decided to start planting and restoring all the lake trout. And also the natives, I do believe, plant a bunch of lake trout in the lakes. So there's a ton of them out here.
Well, it didn't take long for me to figure out that the lake trout fishing out of Alpena is incredible. Within an hour, we had boated several fish, including a couple over 10 pounds, and it became apparent that catching a limit of lakers was going to be no problem.
Out here, the lake trout are basically from the surface all the way down. The DNR claim that the lake trout's diet is 30% terrestrial insects when they're smaller. So if you run stuff up high, you'll tend to pick up some smaller lake trout. The bigger lake trout are deeper, and they're feeding primarily on the bloaters, the smelt, and the gobies primarily. So the lake trout are pretty much in all the water column. You can't really get away from the lake trout. So the only way you can kind of get away from the lake trout is speed. You can speed it up a little too fast to get the bigger lake trout, but you're still going to pick up smaller lake trout no matter what. There's just a ton of lake trout on this lake. They plant them out here every year by the millions, basically. I think Lake Huron received 1.3 million plants this year alone. So they're the most plentiful fish. So to target those, we can pretty much catch those in all the water column from the top to the bottom. But if you want bigger fish, you tend to hug the bottom and go a little bit slower. That's an eater size. Yeah, not bad. Well, today we started out a little late. I generally like to come out in the mornings. And we're usually finished up by noon. So sunlight till noon. Usually have our limit of trout and some other species mixed in. And as far as today, we didn't get out till about 1. We already got about 5 in the box, so the lake trout should generally bite pretty well until I'd say 7:30 or so. So we still got several hours left yet. Hopefully we'll pick up a few steelhead and maybe some walleyes mixed in.
With a couple of hours left before sunset, we waited for the evening bite, and the lake trout kept us plenty busy.
Yeah, the lake trout back in the day, I talked to some old timers lately. When they were eating the alewife, they weren't as good eating as they are now. Right now, the lake trout's primary diet is 30% in terrestrial insects, but also they're eating the gobies. They're an invasive species, but yet the lake trout take care of those. This year I've found one lake trout that had 44 gobies in his belly and he still bit my lure. So they're eating those and they're very good eating. Lake trout kind of bite just about everything. They're not really that picky. To find the bigger ones, there's kind of a few tricks, but in general, we primarily ran spoons today. We did run a paddle with a spin and glow, and those work. It's kind of the go-to technique if you're targeting just lake trout, is to run the spinnies and the paddles, but I like running a mixture of everything because You just never know when you're going to pick up a king or a steelhead or a walleye. Fishery's been through big changes in the last 15 years or so, because in 2004, the alewife crashed out here. The alewife ate a little bug called a diparia, and when the zebra mussels cleaned up the water so much, the diparia died. When the diparia died, so did the alewife, and it wasn't long that the salmon just totally crashed. Since then, the lake trout, the walleye, the steelhead, and the Atlantic salmon have taken back over, and they seem to be doing pretty well. Lately, we've been getting a lot of trips in the 20s, fish landed. Most of them are lake trout, of course, but it's not uncommon to get 3 and 4 and even 5 different species in a single trip.
We ended the night with 3 species, including a limit of Lakers, showcasing not only a world-class lake trout fishery, but also a great variety of species to target. Although the Lake Huron fishery has changed in the last decade or so, it still offers incredible fishing year-round. Special thanks to Steve for helping to showcase another great body of water we have here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
I tell people all the time, if you are lucky enough to get a chance to tag along with some of our woodcock banders here in the state of Michigan, to make sure you take that opportunity. It is a lot of fun, a very unique experience, and I was lucky enough to do it last week.
Last week found me in Standish at a spot I like to frequent, Wheeler's Restaurant. Today I was joining Randy Strauss on a woodcock banding trip, which is always a lot of fun.
And how did these guys end up here with you today?
Carl bought a banding trip at the Rough Grouse Society, bid on it and won it, so that's what we're doing.
And how did I get conned into this deal?
You volunteered.
Oh, that's right. Any birds out there today?
Hopefully. We'll see what we can find.
Been a slow spring so far?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
We'll do the best we can.
All right. How many dogs we're going to have down?
We're going to have 3 at a time down.
All right. Let's go get them.
All right.
Joining Randy today was Bill Mulson, Bob Zen, Carl Myers, and Dave Ames. Now, in banding woodcock, the first part of the equation is the dog. These have to be certified and tested dogs. They may have to hold point for quite a while, and you want to make sure that they don't bust in on a brood of chicks and injure them. Now, we surprisingly found our first nest pretty quickly and had a hen in plain sight. Now, you do try to net the hen if possible and band her as well. However, the first priority is to find the chicks and be very careful where you step. Finding these little chicks can be very tough. Now, a nest can have up to 4 chicks, and much time is spent looking to see if all 4 chicks are with the hen. Then it's carefully grabbing them and getting a band on one of their legs.
Look at that little thing.
Much like a morel mushroom hunter, the banders seem to just know what to look for. These little chicks are tough to spot, and when they are not moving, they can be almost invisible to the untrained eye. Our first brood we found had all 4 chicks.
Okay, Randy, what are we going to do now?
We're going to band the chicks. Make sure you never leave the band or the bag open, because they'll walk right out.
And how old do you figure these are?
A day old.
A day old.
They're
just hold on to them.
They're had sometime last night, I'd say.
Last night?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I can tell you in a minute.
They're pretty active for last night.
All right. Now, Carl, here, let me hold the chick.
Okay.
You take the chicks like this. Yeah. I always band on the right leg. Put the head between your fingers like this.
Mm-hmm.
These are off a little. Then you pull the leg like this. That's left leg, going to right leg. All right. You see?
Yeah.
All right. Let's close it. Squeeze it.
Oops. Oh, he's not.
That's all right.
Let me open it up a little.
No, just leave it like that. That's fine.
Okay.
These little boogers really active. All right, little feller.
It's closed up a little bit, though.
That's right.
I don't know if you.
It'll
Okay.
go right. Tighten it right up.
Okay.
I'll turn the band 90 degrees.
90 degrees.
And Randy, what do they do with all this information that you end up collecting?
They put it in a database, the federal government, feds do, and they keep track. These birds, when they're harvested, they know where they're banded at and how old they were and what year. And they give them information how they're doing.
Okay.
And how the force is doing.
And how many years have you been banding now?
This is my 26th year.
Wow.
I get started by a guy named Al Lowry, then Sheldon McBurney, which was one of the best banders I ever knew. Taught me for 20-some years. We hunted and banded together. Sheldon passed this last winter, and a great fellow and great friend. Couldn't ask for a better mentor, and very close to him.
Well, he must have taught you good. You spotted those chicks pretty darn good.
Yeah, but he was an ace. I mean,
yeah, he was.
Yeah, you know him not as well as I did, but I hunted with him, banded with him for 20-some years. So he said it took him a long time to train me up.
I can believe that.
Yep,
I'm sure he just liked your company.
Oh, he's just a great guy. He banded into his 80s. He was 84 and still banding for 85.
And then you'll measure these beaks, Randy, to figure out how old they are?
Yeah, the last one I'll measure. I'll tell you how old they are.
And that hen, was that pretty common for them to stick around like that, like what she did? She hung pretty tight.
Yeah, I thought I was going to catch her. But you don't always catch them. They're all different.
And then she'll come right back in as soon as we leave, right?
Yes, she'll come right back in, and
no worse for the wear.
She'll hustle these chicks out of here like nobody's business.
Now, once all the banding and information gathering is done, we quickly get the chicks gathered up, make a small impromptu nest, and simulate the flush of a mother bird. Now, sometimes this will hold the birds in that one spot until the hen comes back, and sometimes they wander off a few feet. As we moved on, I asked Randy what someone has to do to become a bander.
Well, you have to go be trained by a licensed bander.
Okay.
And then you got, every other year we have a banding seminar. You have to go to that and get certified. Then you start banding. You have to have a qualified dog. Usually when you go with a certified bander, they let you run your dog to see if it's qualified to band the birds or not.
Oh, okay. And for you, what's more fun, banding or hunting, or are they about the same?
Banding's more fun for me. It always has been. The way I shoot, I get lots of practice. I'm a guy that saves a lot of birds by teaching them to fly. But
so for a lot of the banders, you think it's as enjoyable or more enjoyable than the hunting season, eh?
I think so. Banding's a lot tougher than people realize. I've got almost 100 miles walking this year, and I think I'm at 37 birds is all.
Okay.
This is a bad year for me. Usually I get that many miles on, I'd have 60 or 70 birds, but if they're not there, they're not there, Jimmy. You know, I haven't heard anybody really getting a lot of birds. On a good year, a bander does a lot of banding, you'll get 50 to 70 birds.
Okay.
So.
Now, our second brood was found by Bob Zen and his dog. Randy has a few guys like Bob and Bill that he mentors in this process, much like he had someone mentor him. Now, the Woodcock banders do a lot of great stuff for the state and for upland hunters, but I was equally impressed with the idea of having these guys have folks that mentor them. Both Bill and Bob are very accomplished bird hunters, but the fact that they both are willing to learn from someone else says a lot about them. And on this brood, we were able to see the hen quickly and find the 4 chicks. We were hoping to get the hen netted as well, and after some very slow movements, we were able to get this net in position and get the hen netted and banded. Now, there are about 100 or so banders here in the state, and if you ever have the chance to tag along with one, don't miss the opportunity. It's really a great time, and to see these little chicks up close is pretty neat. So with all 4 chicks located, it was time to get out the bands and get to work. You want to take your time, but also move right along so you don't disturb the brood for too long.
Here, let me hold the first one, then we'll let you do the other one.
Okay.
Here we get worried about.
You said never let the bird push off of you?
Never put their hand under the legs.
Okay, that's
And then
good.
rotate 90.
Rotate 90.
You can see just how delicate these little legs are on these birds. It's important to make the band perfectly round and make sure it doesn't pinch the skin of the bird.
So it extends the leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you slide it in
Make
there,
sure you
just
don't
make
get
sure
his-
you don't get any skin. Yeah.
Good.
Yep, you're good. Okay, pull her off. Let's rotate it. Go ahead, loosen it up a little more. Let me loosen it right up.
Okay.
Well, the weather was reaching the mid-70s, and it was time to get the dogs put up and watered. We had a great time today, and special thanks to Randy for letting us tag along with him. I love any chance to chase bird dogs through the woods. If that's in the fall with a shotgun or the spring with a net, it's a great place to be. And much like today, it's a lot about who you're with. Today was about old friends and some new ones, rock-solid points, and remembering those that went before, and also about teaching new folks to fill their place, right here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, and staying in that same vein of passing on our love of the outdoors to the next generation, we're going to tag along with our own Gabe Van Warmer right now with one of his boys as they get out and do a little spring turkey hunting.
Taking my two sons, Drake and Reed, out has resulted in some very interesting hunts. While hunting with Drake, we decided to go after a bird that had given us fits throughout the season. I love being in the woods during the spring, and this morning was no exception. While listening to the gobblers, a curious raccoon came in to check us out. It wasn't long before a gobbler flew down right behind us. It was a tense situation, wondering where he might come out.
I got him. Tell me when you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Oh, yeah. Stay down.
Oh, man.
Well, we have an expert guide right behind the camera. This is Jason's property, and these birds never do what we want them to do over here. And for once, they did what we wanted them to do. What do you think the coolest thing about this morning was?
Probably hearing the gobbler over there gobble and then hear the other one back here gobble.
That was so cool. You know what else I like? I like that raccoon
Yeah, that
at
was
the end
cool.
of your toes. I thought he was going to nibble on your toes a little bit. You hear that? What do you think she's saying?
Where are you?
Killed my boyfriend. You killed my boyfriend. Yep. All right, let's go take a look at your turkey. Good job. Wow. Look at this. Holy moly. Look at the size of those spurs. Oh man, those are great hooks. Look at how sharp they are. Ah. Look at that beard. Wow, nice job. Jason's behind the camera. He was kind enough to let us use his 20 gauge, and that worked out good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Are you tired? You had a late baseball game, got up this morning to turkey hunt. Now you get to go to school. Let's get them tagged up. Hey, good job. Very good job. Very good job.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. Lots of good stuff coming over the next few weeks here in Michigan Out of Doors. We've got some walleye fishing and some smallmouth fishing from the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula. We also have some carp fishing, we have some cat fishing, we have some white bass fishing. Lots of good stuff happening around the state if you are a sportsman. And hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Vanguard, a global manufacturer based in Michigan featuring rifle scopes, binoculars, and spotting scopes with lifetime warranties. Vanguard supplies sporting optics and accessories for the outdoor enthusiast online at vanguardworld.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
This land I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. My hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I